This weekend, thousands of bicycles will hit the streets for the 10th annual VeloSano Bike to Cure event by Cleveland Clinic.
In the last decade, this event raised nearly $40 million. Now, you might be wondering, exactly where does that money go?
Our senior health correspondent, Monica Robbins, takes us into the lab to show us how funding helps get cancer research started.
Regenia Lane is a breast cancer survivor, but it wasn't her aggressive cancer that nearly killed her. It's what happened while she recovered from a mastectomy.
It was just extreme, constant pain. It wouldn't go away no matter what I did, no matter what medication they gave me. They tried quite a few, and none of them seemed to do anything to help me.
A blood clot in her lung, a well-known risk of surgery, and African Americans are at higher risk for clotting, known as thrombosis. But what you might not realize is the risk is also very real for cancer patients getting chemotherapy or immunotherapy.
Up to as much as 20% of cancer patients can die from thrombosis.
Blood clots happen when blood goes from a liquid to a solid state, known as thrombus. You may have heard it by different names, such as pulmonary embolism in the lungs, deep vein thrombosis or DVT, often in the legs, stroke in the brain, just to name a few. Dr. Keith McCrae and Dr. Ala Karana spent the last decade trying to find biomarkers that signal a higher risk for thrombosis during cancer treatment.
What our hope is to identify things in blood that can let us treat just some cancer patients with preventative measures to prevent blood clots.
Where would this research be without funding from VeloSano?
Probably nowhere. A lot of research is really dependent on generating preliminary data.
VeloSano funding allowed them to prove their science deserved a grant from the National Institutes of Health, which isn't easy to get.
It's just impossible because only 1 in 10 NIH grants are funded at this point.
Their early research developed a clinical risk score based on basic patient information. Local patients already benefit.
Those effects are immediately available to the Cleveland community. The risk score calculation, for instance, the Cleveland Clinic is one of 3 hospitals in the country that's doing it.
It's called the Karana score, yes, named after this doctor, and found in dozens of medical publications, but likely would not exist without VeloSano. As for the biomarker research, the rides spend years off of research time.
Easily cut in half. Yeah, probably cut 70% by VeloSano. Just because having the personnel and the funds available to do the studies I'm not sure it ever would have got off the ground.
They're still validating the biomarker science, but Cleveland will see it first.
We've narrowed down which cancer patients are at high risk for getting blood clots. We're hopeful that the biomarker data that we generate, as well as this new grant that we have on immunotherapy and blood clots, that could potentially generate more results. I think we're very close to bedside.
An event bringing the community together and helping science move faster down the road.
By all means, it's definitely saving lives.
Monica Robbins, 3 News.